Praise the Most High God. Good to be here on the Sabbath day. Got a little feedback. Want to say peace to everybody in the audience, online, and listening on the phone. And today is the Sabbath day, the day that we're supposed to set apart, keep holy, and have a holy convocation. We're not supposed to, kindle a fire. So in other words, if you smoke cigarettes, you ain't smoking cigarettes all day. You're not supposed to cook. Use a microwave. A microwave is a new way to boil. Let's say you're not supposed to spend money. Those are some of the ordinances of the Sabbath. So if you're doing those things on this day, you're in breach. And that's part of the commandments. The title of the lesson is Modify Your Behavior or Die, Part 1. And we're going through commandments 1 through 5. And, there's a lot of false prophets out there telling you this, that, and the third about how the law is done away with. You don't have to do anything. God loves you. God loves everybody. And we're going to go through this lesson, and we're going to see if God loves everybody, straight up and down. So enough with the flapping. Let's get to the lesson. Let's start this off in Exodus real quick. And what I want everybody to see, who gave this law and who was it given to. Exodus 19. We're going 17 through 19. And when you get there, my brother, please bring the heat.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. And they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on the smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly.
Stop. So we see that the people are going up to meet God. The mountain is on fire. The mountain is shaking and is quaking. Why? Because God is coming to speak with these people. Go ahead, bruh.
And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice.
And God answered Moses personally by voice. No other God on the planet, fake God, can they? In other words, no other God is in their book answering their servant by voice. And he said Moses was his friend. And Moses was his friend because Moses did what he said to do. That's how you show God you love him. And don't believe my words, we're going to read that. Let's go to Exodus 20. We're going right into Exodus 20, and we're going to get started. This is the blueprint for your behavior. Okay, if you don't modify your behavior according to what we're about to read, and we're about to break each part down. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at your lesson. On your lesson, you're going to see first commandment, second commandment, third commandment, so on and so forth. This is your itinerary, okay? All the scriptures that are underneath each commandment have to do specifically with that commandment, okay? So there's examples that exemplify this commandment. In other words, if you don't do what this commandment says to do, you got a problem. Now, Exodus 20, 1 through 3. And when you get there, brother, please, go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying.
Who spoke those words?
God spake all these words.
Come on.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
And he said he was going to put you back into Egypt in slave ships, but that's another lesson. Go ahead.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
So that's the first commandment is no other gods before him. So Christmas Jesus, Easter Jesus, Vishnu, Allah, all those so-called gods, nah, that is not the God of Israel. And we're going to prove it through these commandments. Now let's go to Numbers 25 real quick, because again, like I said, on your lesson, when you see a commandment and you see scriptures underneath that commandment, it has to do with people who broke that commandment. And we're going to see the end result when you break those commandments. I got to give you all an itinerary because I know how Israel is. Let's go to Numbers 25, 1 through 9. And when you get there, I hear some pages rustling. I'll wait for y'all. I'm sorry, I get a little amped up. To me, it's like full contact. This is full contact. We ain't playing tag. This is full contact. When you get there, brother, please read.
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
Stop. So off the rip, they begin. They ain't even. Israel, man. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bowed down to their gods.
So they're in violation of commandment number 1. You shouldn't have no other gods. And we see right here, they went to a Christmas party and started eating. And then they went and picked up a gift because they bowed down themselves to them. And they're in violation. We're going to see what happens. Go ahead, bro.
And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
Why? Because he told y'all, don't have no other gods before me. That's why he's pissed off. He should be. They in breach. Go ahead, bruh.
And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun.
Start reading that verse 4 again. I don't think y'all heard what God said. Go ahead, bruh.
And the Lord said unto Moses,
do what?
Take all the heads of the people.
Come on.
And hang them up before the Lord against the sun.
Come on.
That the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel.
So God said, take their heads. He didn't say give them a hug. He didn't say give them a kiss. He said, take their heads and hang them up. Go ahead, bruh.
And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor.
Come on.
And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses.
Come on.
And in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Too late now. Come on.
And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand.
Stop. Bear in mind, this is a priest with a javelin in his hand. That's about to do something. Okay, come on.
And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
How many died that day? Verse 9.
And those that died in the plague were 24,000.
24,000. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. They tripped. 24,000 died that day. And they had to take their heads and hang them up. That was to appease the Most High God. You got to understand this God that we're dealing with, he ain't playing. He's merciful. He's long suffering. But if you cross him, he will have your head taken off and hung up. Now, let's go to the second commandment real quick, because people got this game really twisted right here. Exodus 20. And it ain't all gloom and doom. I don't want to paint the picture that it's all gloom and doom, but this is the way that you get into the God family. This is the way that you become Elohim. This is why we're here. There is no other reason to be doing this unless the reward is just immense. That's right. And conversely, the punishment is unimaginable. I cannot imagine being in a lava pit, a lake of fire, a lava pit forever, trying to fight my way up to the top because I think I'm going to get some relief, when that's not going to happen. Exodus 20, we're going to start at the second commandment. And brother, what is the second commandment?
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Stop. So we said in the heaven above, that would be a dove, right? So all these people with these doves on the back of their cars, they in violation? Okay, let me see. What about in the water? Oh, so all the people rolling around with the fish on the back of their car, they in violation. Man, read that again. I'm tripping, man. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Read that again, please.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above.
Come on.
Or that is in the earth beneath.
Come on.
Or that is in the water under the earth.
Take the fish off your car. Go ahead, verse 5.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Come on.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
So he said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. But if you hate me, I'll have your head hanging up. 24,000 heads hanging up. Now, we're going to go to 1 Kings and we're going to see an example. Because again, if you look underneath that commandment, you're going to see verses that pertain specifically to violators of that commandment. Or if I was a lawyer, of said commandment. So we're going to deal with Jeroboam, and we're going to see exactly how Israel, when it got split. Okay, let me preface this. Okay, Solomon got all off into some crazy worship of, he started building houses of worship for all the gods of Shemash and the Zidonians and Baal and everything else. So God got hot. Okay, he sent Ahijah the prophet to Jeroboam and told him, look, man, I'm going to tear the kingdom away from the house of David temporarily. I'm going to give you 10 tribes. So he tore 10 tribes away from Solomon, and he gave them to Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Wasn't even his son; it was a servant of Solomon. So now Jeroboam. Now we just celebrated the Feast of Tabernacles, okay, which was a joyous time. It's a wonderful time. It goes on for 8 days. We have a great time. Now what happens is this: God ordained that 3 times a year you're supposed to go down to Jerusalem and you're supposed to keep these feasts. The Feast of Tabernacles being one of these feasts. Y'all with me? All right. So now, Jeroboam is like, he's sitting up in the northern kingdom because it's the north and the southern kingdom. Israel, they call it Israel or Ephraim because they had the most amount of people in that tribe. That's why they took over as the northern kingdom. So what he's thinking in his mind, Jeroboam is like, I don't want them going down to Jerusalem because if they go down to Jerusalem, they might turn their head, their hearts towards David. So I want to keep them up here. So guess what he did? 1 Kings 12, and we're going to see what exactly he did. And we're going to see if it sounds like something he should do or should not do, according to that commandment we just read. And when you get there, brother, please read.
And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If these people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord.
Come on.
Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah.
Stop. So I see a little haterism going on too. A little lightweight. They're going to turn back to Jeroboam. Oh, okay. Rehoboam. Oh, okay. Go ahead, bro.
And they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
So what did he do?
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold.
How many calves?
2 calves of gold.
Sounds like something that's in the earth, right? Please read, brother.
And said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin.
Whoa, it became what?
It became a sin.
Come on.
For the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
Now, just in case y'all don't know what a sin is, I got a public service announcement for you. We're going to 1 John real quick. You dig? And we're going to figure out what exactly sin is, because everybody tell you drinking and smoking and dancing and everything else is a sin, when in the Bible, in Judges, it says wine makes God and man merry, by the way. Ask me after the class. I'll show you that. So we're going to figure out, according to the Bible, what sin is. 1 John 3, 1 verse, very tactical, verse 4. Come on, man.
Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any gods, any graven images, or bow yourself down to them. My man Jeroboam made 2 golden calves. He's in violation, is he not? Let's see what happens. Let's go back to 1 Kings. Now that we all know what sin is, I did the public service announcement. We're going to go back to 1 Kings, and we're going to see what Jeroboam did with these 2 calves and how he started acting a stone fool. And we're going to see what God did to him as a result of him acting a stone fool. And we're going to see what God did to the whole nation. 1 Kings 12. Start at verse 32. 1 Kings 12. Verse 32 and 33. I want you to pay attention to this altar. Glean the word altar. Every time you hear altar, I want you to brain to go, oh, altar. That's that altar he's talking about. That's that altar. 32. Go ahead, bruh.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah.
Stop. Remember the Feast of Tabernacles we were just talking about. Now, that takes place on the 15th day in the 7th month. My man said, I'm going to do it on the 15th day in the 8th month. Complete violation. I don't even know what's going on in his mind. Come on, brother.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
Come on.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart.
Wait, the God told him to do that?
No, he devised of his own heart.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
Now, we about to see how God dealt with him. We're going directly into 1 Kings 13, and we're going to start reading that too. 1 Kings 13, chapter 13. Where we at? 22:32. No, we just read that. 22. Hold on. Oh, my bad. Hold on. Yeah, I got it in mine. Hold on for 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Said 22. Nah, that definitely ain't it. We going to 1 Kings 13. So bear with me. 1 Kings 13. We're going to read 2 through 4. Because again, we're dealing with that altar. And don't trip. I'll steer the ship. If the nose is messed up, I'll steer the ship. Don't trip. Just follow me. 1 Kings 13. Start reading at verse 2. Come on.
And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord and said,
Stop. So, now let me preface this. So he's altering these sacrifices on this bogus altar to these two calves that he made in the northern kingdom, okay? And so what happened was the Most High sent a prophet to him to warn him of, yo, man, if you keep doing this, I got something for you. Now, we're going to take it, start at verse 2 again, please. Go ahead, bro.
And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name.
Stop. What's his name?
Josiah by name.
By the way, this took place 310 years before it actually took place. So we're going to see the prophecy, and then we're going to see the fulfillment of the prophecy against this altar where this false worship was taking place. We're going to see how God handled it. Go ahead, bro.
And upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee.
Come on.
And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out.
Stop. So this altar is going to be split in half, and the ashes are going to pour out on it, basically to let him know that these words will indeed take place. Go ahead, verse 4.
And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, lay hold on him, and his hand, which he put forth against him, dried up, so that he could not pull it in again unto him.
So what happened is, the man of God is telling him this prophecy about Josiah, 310 years later, by the way. So my man stretches out his hand, and all of a sudden, he gets the chicken wing going on. So he's standing up there with the chicken wing. Skip down to verse 6. Because God is merciful. He will warn you. He'll hurt you a little bit, and then he might back off on you. And he backed off on him. Skip down to verse 6, brother. Go ahead and read, please.
And the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me.
So he's asking the man of God, mind you, he's sacrificing foul things, doing all this foul stuff on this altar, disrespecting God, but he asked, please, tell God to please just bring my hand back the normal way, please. And what happened, brother? Go ahead.
And he prayed for me that my hand may be restored me again.
And what happened?
And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and it became as it was before.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I was doing some crazy stuff and my hand turned into a chicken wing mummy, you know, the burnt Louisiana chicken hand, and then the man of God prayed for me and everything came back to normal, I would switch the game up. I'd be like, yo, God is not playing. I can't do this. Lord, please, I'd have rent my clothes, put the ashes on my head. Skip down to verse 33 and let's see what happened.
After this thing, Jeroboam returned from his evil way, or excuse me, in this thing, Jeroboam returned not from his evil way.
Come on.
But made again of the lowest of the people priests of the high places. Whosoever would, he consecrated him, and he became one of the priests of the high places.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only people that were supposed to be the high priests were the sons of Aaron. So how is this guy, who's not even the son of Aaron, a priest of the high places? Oh, because he made these high places. Oh, because this wasn't ordained by God. Because he was rebellious against the second commandment, among other commandments. So now let's fast forward 310 years, because from this point, the kingdom is starting off with idolatry going on in the north. So 310 years later, the northern kingdom's been taken away into slavery by the Assyrians. We got Nebuchadnezzar coming against the southern kingdom, smashing on them. Let's see exactly when this prophecy is fulfilled and exactly what this righteous king does. This was a righteous king in the southern kingdom. This was actually Hezekiah's grandson. Yeah, Hezekiah's grandson. Josiah's father was Manasseh. Manasseh was an evil king. Manasseh, from what I heard, actually killed Isaiah, but that's another lesson. Let's go to 2 Kings 22. Yeah, we straight. We back on track. 2 Kings 22. We're going to see a prophecy fulfilled that was spoken of 310 years before this. This is the God that we're dealing with. He calls the end from the beginning. He speaks in past, present, and future simultaneously. You must understand these things. This is not for the faint of heart. Modify your behavior, or 2 Kings 22, start reading at verse 1, bruh. Go ahead.
Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jediah, the daughter of Adahiah of Boskath.
Pay attention to the second verse. Go ahead.
And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the ways of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left.
That's what you want to be written of you. That you did everything God said to do. Now, let's see. Let me preface this. So, he was 8 years old when he started to reign, okay? 10 years later, when he's 18, he says, okay, I see the house of the Lord is in disrepair. So he got in his mind he's going to have the house of the Lord restored to at least a little bit of his glory. So what he did was he commissioned some brothers to go in there, figure out what was wrong, collect some money, and get to hopping on it. So now that you guys are up to speed, let's read. Skip down to verse 8, and we're going to see exactly the process of him fulfilling this prophecy. There's a process to everything. Verse 8, go ahead.
And Hilkiah the high priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it.
Now, I want you to skip down to verse 11, because what happened was they came before the king, and they read the book of the law to the king. Now, watch the king's response. This is what I want. I know every one of us has dealt with a person, and you cracked open this book, and you have showed them Jeremiah 10, where they should not put a dang on tree in their living room, in their house, no shape, form, or fashion, and they'll tell you, okay, they understand that, but that's not what it means. In other words, they make excuses. They don't immediately humble themselves and say, that's what that says. I'm not going to do it anymore. So this brother, this king, Josiah, when he heard this, when they brought the book of the law to him, watch what his response was, and watch how he goes into action. Verse 11. Go ahead, bruh.
And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes.
Now, we're going into 2 Kings 23, because what I want you to understand is, if you do not modify your behavior, when the Lord comes to get you, whether it's 310 years later, 2 days later, you got a problem. He is not playing with nobody. He ain't playing with me. That's why I have to make sure everything I'm telling you guys comes from this book and I'm reading, so I don't have no blood on my hands, because y'all ain't worth my salvation, and I ain't getting paid to do this. 2 Kings 23. Start reading at verse 4, but you know what? I'm going to throw y'all a curveball. Start reading at verse 3, because what happened was this. When they read the book of the law, the king rent his clothes. He went and gathered up all his priests and said, we got to do everything that this book says to do, because we have not been doing this. We are in breach. Then after he did that, he got motivated, took the gang, grabbed up the people, and this is what happened. Verse 3, come on.
And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments.
Come on.
And his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and with all their soul.
To do what?
To perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book.
Stop. To perform the words of the covenant that is written in this book. Don't y'all understand the same thing that we're reading right now? These brothers and sisters was reading back then. Perform to do all the words that are written in this book. If you ain't doing all the words written in this book, you got a problem. Come on, bruh.
And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal.
Stop. Now it's time to clean house. He tells the priest, bring all this crap out. Watch how my man sweeps through the kingdom like a tornado, and I love it. Come on.
And for the grove.
That's right.
And for all the host of heaven.
The sun, the moon, and the stars. You mean the children of Israel was worshiping the planets? You mean they was looking at their horoscope? Oh, they was looking at their horoscope. Yeah, that's the planet worship too. Get up off that. You get killed for that too. Come on, man.
And he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel.
Then what did he do?
And he put down the idolatrous priests.
Stop. Put down. What does put down mean? Did what? Okay. Come on.
Whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun.
Stop. To the sun? Sunday? Sun worship. Come on, bruh.
And to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people.
He desecrated the graves of those people that was actually partaking in that worship. Even the dead gets no respect. If you are an enemy of God, you gets no respect. We reading this. Now, let's see what else this man did. This was a righteous act. Verse 7.
And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove.
In case you don't know what a sodomite is, that is a homosexual. That is an abomination to the Lord. And guess what? These homosexuals, guess what they got? They got a new location. It's called Get Out of Here. Go ahead and read. Skip down to verse 10, bruh, and read.
And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech.
Stop. Now, that might fly over some people's heads. So let me break down this Molech thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed all these owls that they got hanging around. They're trying to push this owl agenda, but that owl represents Molech. Now, if you go online and you look up cremation of care ceremony, you will see people dressed in like white hoods looking like the Klan doing a mock human sacrifice to like a 50-foot owl, and that's Molech. So all these owls that they got going on, this is the same dang on craziness that was going on back then. Skip down to verse 13. Come on.
And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the Mount of Corruption.
The Mount of Corruption. Wow. And who actually founded the Mount of Corruption? Go ahead.
Which Solomon, the king of Israel, had built it. For Ashtoreth,
Come
the
on.
abomination of the Zidonians.
Who else?
And for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moabites.
Come on.
And for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images, and cut down the groves, and filled their places with the bones of men.
Say you're not supposed to make no images. You're not supposed to have none. No fish, no cross, no nothing. None of that. When he spoke to the children of Israel, it was out of the smoke, and they couldn't see any similitude of anything. Remember that. Verse 15. Go ahead.
Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel.
Stop. That altar. So you mean to tell me that altar from 310 years ago is still around to this day in Israel? And they still doing these sacrifices, doing all this crazy stuff on it. Watch what Josiah did according to the prophet that spoke 310 years prior. Go ahead, bruh.
Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel,
Come on.
and the high place which Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high place he brake down.
Yeah.
And burned the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burned the grove.
Come on.
And as Josiah turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the sepulchres.
Stop. Remember, if you're an enemy of God, even the dead gets no respect. My man said, what else can I do? I done smashed on the sodomites. I done smashed on all these groves. I done cut down the images. I done booted and ripped everything apart that was foul to the Most High. Wait a minute. I remember something from my childhood. I remember hearing words about priests sacrificing on this. Where's the graves of these priests at? Where the graves of the priests at? And what did he do when he got to the graves of those priests?
And he took the bones out of the sepulchres and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it according to the word of the Lord, which the man of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these words.
Praise the Most High that he did that. Now, let's go to the third commandment. So as you can see, the Most High God's not playing with you. Modify your behavior, or you might get your grave dug up and your bones burnt and defiled, because he's not playing with you. He's not playing with me. He's not playing with you. He's not playing with the whole world. He ain't playing with the whole world. Serve him with fear and trembling. Exodus 20, we're going to deal with the third commandment. I'm glad the little kids sang the 10 commandments because this is right on point. That's the spirit of the Most High moving. Exodus 20, one verse, the third commandment. Come on.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Now I know what you're thinking. See, that's the whole thing with Yahshua or Yehoshua or Yahasha. Yeah, no, that's not what that's talking about. Let's read blasphemy and curse. Let's read those definitions out of the Bible. Out of the Compact Dictionary, the New Compact Bible Dictionary, so we can get an understanding of it. First thing we're dealing with is curse. This is the definition of curse and definition of blasphemy. So when we get into these examples, you'll understand why. Instead of just being like, well, I don't know why God is tripping. Go ahead and read, brother.
Curse, the reverse of to bless. On the human level, to wish harm or catastrophe. On the divine, to impose judgment. The cursing of one's parents is sternly prohibited by Mosaic regulations.
Honor thy mother and thy father. Of course, that's a commandment. Go ahead.
Christ commanded those who would be his disciples to bless and curse not. Luke 6:28. When Peter, at Christ's trial, denied that he knew him, he invited a curse upon himself. Matthew 26:74. This passage is often misunderstood by Western readers. Paul represents the curse of the law as borne by Christ upon the cross for the believer.
Because the curse of dealing with Paul, the wages of sin is death. Okay, Jesus is our Passover. He's our sacrifice, our perfect sacrifice and perfect high priest. That's dealing with that. That it?
The modern Western practice of cursing, i.e. using profane language,
which you shouldn't do, by the way. Modify your behavior. Go ahead.
It's never referred to in the scriptures.
It's never referred to in the scripture. So cursing basically is, again, come on.
To wish harm or catastrophe on the divine to impose judgment. The cursing of one's parents is sternly prohibited by Mosaic regulations.
Now let's get to blasphemy. So we know what cursing is. We're going to know what blasphemy is. Then we're going to have a clear understanding of why the Most High is riding on who he's going to be about to ride on. So let's get to blasphemy so we can understand that.
Blasphemy, to reproach or to bring a railing accusation against anyone is bad enough. But to speak lightly or carelessly of God is a mortal sin.
Say that one more time.
But to speak lightly or carelessly of God is a mortal sin.
That's the problem. Come on.
In Israel, the punishment for blasphemy was death by stoning.
Well, I guess that's pretty much what we need to get to then. Let's get to Leviticus. You know, books say what it say. That's the beauty of actually being a teacher. The book does most of the work. I don't need to be up here flapping, telling y'all about my week. Who cares about my week? You need to learn how to save. We need to learn how to save ourselves, me included. Because ain't nobody in here saved. And if you think you are, you ain't read this book. Leviticus 24. We're going to go 10 through 16. We're going to see, because remember, don't take the name of the Lord in vain. So if you speak lightly against God, against the God of Israel, verse 10, brother, please read.
And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp.
Stop. So these dudes, they're in the camp, in the wilderness, they're in the camp. And what's happening is these dudes are arguing over something. And verse 11.
And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed.
Wow, he did both. Huh. Now, I don't know how it turned from him squabbling with this dude to him going hard against God, but keep reading.
And they brought him unto Moses, and his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Debri of the tribe of Dan.
Come on.
And they put him in ward that the mind of the Lord might be showed them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying.
Wait, stop. Who spoke to Moses?
And the Lord spake unto Moses.
Go ahead.
Bring forth him that cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him.
Now, remember, at the mouth of two or more witnesses is a matter established, and those witnesses are the first ones to pick up the stones to stone you. Go ahead, bruh.
And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, whosoever curseth his God shall bear his sin.
So if y'all railing on the name Jesus and it's in the Bible, keep reading.
And he that blasphemeth the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death.
Well, maybe he might be put, possibly. Actually,
He shall surely be put to death.
come on.
And all the congregation shall certainly stone him.
Certainly. Come on.
As well the strangers as he that is born in the land, when he blasphemeth the name of the Lord, shall be put to death.
Now, I showed you that example. That's more of a personal example. Let me show you on a larger scale that is actually recorded in history. Let's go to 2 Kings real quick. This is an oldie but goodie to us that's been around, but to people that haven't been around, this might be something that you'd be like, wow, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this was real. This is actually real. 2 Kings 18. Now, let me preface it real quick. Because what I did when I was putting this lesson together, I had to kind of edit stuff, because if we just read, we'd be here till 7 o'clock. And we ain't got time for that, even though we should be doing that, because it's the Sabbath. But I digress. So what's going on is this. The king of Assyria he's carried the northern kingdoms into slavery, okay? He's smashing on everybody. So now he's coming down to Josiah's grandfather, which is Hezekiah. And he's trying to clown. He's like, I'm going to take Jerusalem, and that's just the bottom line to it. So now we're going to see exactly how everything went down. We're going to see if he violated, the third commandment. We're going to see if he violated the third commandment, and we're going to see the result of him violating the third commandment. Now, 2 Kings 18. Start reading that verse. I got another bottle for you, brother. You dig, I know. I know I'm probably wearing you out, man. 2 Kings 18. Verse 11. Go ahead, bro.
And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel unto Assyria, and put them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes.
Why?
Because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord their God, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded, and would not hear them nor do them.
So they wouldn't hear them or do them. So here's the question. If God carried away 10 tribes, put them into slavery or subjection to the Assyrians for not obeying his laws, why is he going to come back and tell you that the law's done away with? That would not be fair. That's a God that switches his mind. I ain't serving no God like that. And I don't know why people just want to run around and serve a God like that. That sounds like a man to me. Come on, man. That's crazy. Verse 13. Go ahead.
Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah,
Which was a good king. Go ahead.
did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Judah and took them.
Skip down to verse 28. We're going to see exactly what his embassy said, or his embassage, if you're in France. His embassage said. Verse 28. Come on.
Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language and spake, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria.
Come on.
Thus saith the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand.
It ain't him that's going to deliver. It's the Most High. What you talking about? Come on.
Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, The Lord will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria.
Now that's the problem right there. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord. Woo, saying the Lord will surely deliver us. That's where he messed up. That's the violation of the third commandment. Go ahead, bruh.
Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and then eat ye every man of his own vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink ye every one the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. And
Stop. Sound like the devil, don't it? Peep this. Remember when Jesus was in the wilderness getting tested, right? He had to suffer temptations, right? So he's standing on the pinnacle, and what happens? He says, all this I'll give you. So now they facing utter obliteration from the Assyrians, and the Assyrians were some cold dudes. They will capture you, kill you, take your dang old skin off your back, hang your skin up outside the city. So they wasn't playing. But he says, hey, come on out. Everything's fine. Sound like the devil to me, Jack. You ain't that slick, homie. Skip down to verse 33, man. Come on.
Have any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria?
Nope, but it doesn't matter. Come on.
Where are the gods of Hamath and of Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Ivah? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand?
Come on.
Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of mine hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of mine hand?
So hold up, buddy. Hold up. You can talk about them other guys, homie, but you talking about the God of Israel, man. Split a Red Sea. You know that guy. Verse 36. Come on.
But the people held their peace and answered him not a word. For the king's commandment was, saying, Answer him not.
Well, I'm surprised Israel was that dang on smart. Hey, we ain't that bad, huh? We might listen. Now let's go. Let's go to 2 Kings 19. So after all this was said, and everybody witnessed this, we're gonna see the response, and let's see exactly what the Lord says, and then we're gonna see what happens. 2 Kings 19. We're gonna start reading at verse 5. 2 Kings 19. I know it says 15, but it ain't 15. It's verse 5. Hold on, let me make sure. Oh, it says 5? Okay. Come on.
So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, Thus shall ye say to your master, Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid of the words which thou hast heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me.
Blaspheme who?
Blaspheme the Lord.
To speak lightly against God is blasphemy, and the penalty of blasphemy in Israel was stoning, death. Modify your behavior. Or, verse 7, come on.
Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor, and shall return to his own land. And I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land.
Prophecy. Remember the prophecy that Jeroboam got? And it happened 310 years later for the whole nation? Skip down to verse 10. Come on.
Thus shall ye speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Let not thy God in whom thou trustest deceive thee, saying, In whom thou trustest, or saying, Jerusalem shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria.
Come on.
Behold, thou hast heard what the king of Assyria hath done to all lands by destroying them utterly, and shalt thou be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them which my fathers have destroyed? As Gozan and Haran and Rezeph and the children of Eden which were in Telazar.
Now, this was the response that Sennacherib came back and told them. Now it's time for a public service announcement real quick. Let's go to Psalms. Because like I told you, I got public service announcements up in there. I'm trying to warn up me and y'all at the same time. Psalms 29. And we're going to go right back, but I just want this public service announcement for you to understand something. Psalms 29, one verse, real tactical, verse 2. Please read, brother.
Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness.
Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Please. Now, let's go back to 2 Kings 19. And we're going to see the cleanup happen. The pinch hit, if you will. 2 Kings 19. We're going to see exactly what the Lord God of Israel says. We're going to see what happens. And then we're going to substantiate what we're reading in this Bible, who a lot of people like to say is a fairy tale and a book completely separate from the Bible. So now, 2 Kings 19. Start reading at verse 15. Watch Hezekiah's humility. That's why the Lord gave Hezekiah 15 more years. The brother was righteous and he was humble. He was humble. He trusted in the Lord. That's what we all have to do. We have to trust in the Lord. If not, don't waste your time. Go out there and do whatever you want to do. 2 Kings 19, verse 15. Please read, brother.
And Hezekiah prayed before the Lord and said, O Lord God of Israel, which dwellest between the cherubims, thou art the God, even thou alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. Thou hast made heaven and earth.
Stop. Notice this. You learned something on the way to learning something. Look how this brother prayed. He didn't say, oh God, can you give me something? Can you do this for me? No, he thanked the Lord for what the Lord has done, and he worshiped him in the beauty of holiness. Verse 16, come on.
Lord, bow down thine ear and hear. Open, Lord, thine eyes and see. And hear the words of Sennacherib, which have sent him to reproach the living God.
Violation of the third commandment, blasphemy. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Do not play with the Lord. When you get baptized, do not get baptized and then go back to your old ways. You're taking the Lord's name in vain. When you go in that pool, when you go in that water, your name becomes Israel. You say, Lord, I am yours. Don't play, because I'm going to tell you what happened if you play with the Lord. Skip down to verse 32. Let's see what the Lord said. Verse 32. Go ahead, bruh.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it.
He ain't going to do nothing against the city. I got this. Go ahead.
By the way that he came, by the same shall he return.
Come on.
And shall not come into this city, saith the Lord. For I will defend this city to save it for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake.
For my servant David's sake. Remember, Jesus is the son of David, and he had to come to a place to be crowned king of Israel. He saved it for his own sake, like he didn't kill the children of Israel when he brought them out of Egypt for his own sake. And he saved it for his servant David's sake, because he promised a man would sit on the throne of David forever. Verse 35. Come on.
And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went out.
Who went out?
The angel of the Lord went out.
So you saying as soon as he prayed that prayer and God responded back, he sent an angel out that day, that night. What did the angel do, sir? Read.
And he smote in the camp of the Assyrians 184,500.
Come on.
And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses.
Stop. 185,000 people died in one night. Now, was he just saying, well, see, Font, that's the Bible, man. The Bible was written by, the man, the white man, some other man, and all these men. It may have been written by a woman. Yeah, okay, whatever. What about this book? This is the last 2 million years right here. And we're going to see in Sennacherib's own records, the records of the Assyrians, they record this event in the book. We're going to get straight to the point. We're not going to go through the whole lineage of Sennacherib and all that. Come on, man.
Sennacherib sacked and burnt Babylon. In his own words, the city and its houses, from its foundation to its top, I destroyed.
In his own words, in his writings, in the writings of the Assyrians, separate from God. The writings of the Assyrians separate from this book. Bear in mind that. Come on.
I destroyed, I devastated, I burnt with fire. Through the midst of that city, I dug canals. I flooded its site with water, and the very foundations thereof I destroyed.
He wasn't playing. Come on.
Jerusalem was also besieged in 701 BC, the occasion on which, in the words of Byron's poem, the Assyrian came down like the wolf on the fold.
Whoa.
Sennacherib extorted tribute from Hezekiah.
He did.
According to the Old Testament, Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord and from the pillars and gave it to the king of Assyria.
He was shook. Come on.
Inscriptions in Sennacherib's own palace.
Stop. Inscriptions in Sennacherib's own palace. Go ahead.
Boast of how he shut up Hezekiah like a caged bird. But the Assyrians failed to take Jerusalem before a plague forced them to withdraw.
A plague, or maybe an angel. Either way you want to call it. In the Assyrians' records, they said it's a plague. In the Bible, where it came from, it says it was an angel that killed 185,000 people in one night. I'm going to believe the Bible. You dig? Now, let's get back to the Bible, that thing we believe in. And we're going to take it at verse 36. So we're at 2 Kings 19, verse 36. Go ahead and read, bruh.
So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh.
I'm pretty sure he did. It wasn't nothing else to do after that. Go ahead.
And it came to pass as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adremelech and Sharezer, his sons, smote him with the sword.
His own sons killed him in a church. His own sons killed him in his church. Boy, I tell you, God ain't no joke, boy. Go ahead.
And they escaped into the land of Armenia. And Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead.
Well, I guess that means that we should all we shouldn't be blaspheming God. Yeah. Let's get to Exodus 20, to the fourth commandment, the reason that we're here today. The fourth commandment, the Sabbath, not Sunday, the Sabbath. You can read the Sabbath as a holy convocation in the Bible. You can't read the first day of the week. It's not even called, as a matter of fact, it ain't even called Sunday. They refer to it as the first day of the week. You can't even read Sunday in the book. That worried me. Somebody brought that to my attention when I was a sun worshiper. They said, man, you can't even read the word Sunday in the book. And then I went home and I was like, oh, man. Oh, yeah. I had to change my game up, Jack. Exodus 20. Exodus 20, we're going to start reading at verse 8. Hopefully y'all still with me. We're on the fourth commandment right now. Modify your behavior according to the 10 commandments, or you just might get killed in the church by your sons. Woo. For blaspheming. Woo. Exodus 20. Start reading at verse 8, please.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Come on.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
But
the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Stop. Everybody take a breath after that one. He don't want nobody doing no work. Verse 11. Come on.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
The Jews blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it?
The Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Moses blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
The Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
You mean the Mosaic law that Moses created himself?
The Lord blessed the Sabbath day.
Oh, that's what the Bible says, the Lord. I'm tripping, y'all. Let's go to Jeremiah real quick. You know, sometimes, you know, you just might think that it says something that it don't say, but when it says it, accept it. Just accept it. Repent. We all worship the Son. I worship the Son. Before I came into the truth, I was trying to figure out how to buy a grenade launcher. I modified my behavior, though. No, I'm for real. I'm serious. I figured it out, too. Exodus 20. I'm sorry, Jeremiah 17. Jeremiah 17. Modify your behavior, or. Jeremiah 17, we're going to start reading at 24. Here's the warning. Now, let me preface it. The children of Israel were acting a stone fool. They was doing all types of foul stuff. Wasn't keeping no laws, no statutes, no judgments, going crazy. The Lord said, look, let's make a deal. Just keep the Sabbath, and I'll keep you in the land. And these are the terms of the addendum, so to speak, that he was willing to do with the children of Israel. Because when you keep the Sabbath, your understanding opens up. And you start to understand really how deep this word is and how rich and lush it is. But before that, and you worshiping the Son, all you want to do is feel good. You don't have to do anything. So let's see the warning that's spoken by Jeremiah from the Lord to the children of Israel. Jeremiah 17:24, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if you diligently hearken unto me, saith the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day.
But what?
But hallow the Sabbath day.
Come on.
To do no work therein. Then shall there enter into the gates of this city kings and princes sitting upon the throne of David.
Come on.
Riding in chariots and on horses.
Come on.
They and their princes, the men of Judah, and in the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And this city shall remain forever.
Come on.
And they shall come from the cities of Judah, and from the places about Jerusalem, and from the land of Benjamin, and from the plain, and from the mountains.
Stop. He's saying, I will keep the entire kingdom intact. You won't have to go anywhere. I won't have to put you on those slave ships. You won't have to come over to America and be dispersed all over the world and be called all these foul names and have the hardest to get a job, the first to get fired, I don't even go through the curses. That's a whole nother lesson. But anyway, go ahead, bruh.
And from the south, bringing burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Come on.
And meat offerings and incense, and bringing sacrifices of praise unto the house of the Lord.
But
if you will not hearken unto me to hallow the Sabbath.
To hallow the Sabbath, or will you hearken on me to say the secret holy name? No? Hallow the Sabbath?
Hallow the Sabbath.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And not to bear a burden, even entering in at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day.
Come on.
Then will I kindle a fire in the gates thereof, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched.
Who is going to kindle the fire against Jerusalem? Public service announcement, anyone? Deuteronomy 5. You get a public service announcement before you see the repercussions of being stupid. God gives you a warning, then he tells you what he's going to do. You either do it or. Deuteronomy 5, one verse 12, please read.
Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee.
He asked you nicely?
He hath commanded thee.
He said, please?
He hath commanded thee.
Let's go to Lamentations and see the result of them not keeping the Sabbath holy. That's why we're sitting over here speaking English right now. We are a stiff-necked, sick people. We sick today. That's why all of our kids is the ones that's getting shot dead in the middle of the streets, and nobody cares.
Nobody.
That's why you can kill, Trayvon Martin can get killed, George Zimmerman can get off, but my man with the dog fights, what's my man, Mike Vick can have some dogs fighting, and he can do what, 18 to 22 years for some dogs fighting. But you can kill a black man and nothing happened to you. Come on, man. If y'all don't understand, it was all because of disobedience. This has nothing to do with the white man, contrary to popular belief. Nothing to do with the white man. It's because you would not hallow the Sabbath and keep it holy. Lamentations 2. Lamentations 2. Because you got to say that, man, because people want to blame everybody, even to this day. It's everybody's fault but us. No, it is your fault. Look in the mirror. Your life is bad because you will not stop. You just keep going. Lamentations 2. 2 verses, tactical, 5 and 6. Come on.
The Lord was an enemy.
Who?
The Lord was an enemy.
Come on.
He hath swallowed up Israel. He hath swallowed up all her palaces.
Come on.
He hath destroyed his strongholds and hath increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation.
Verse 6. Come on, man.
And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were of a garden. He hath destroyed his places of the assembly. The Lord hath caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and have despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest.
Now, watch this. If you as a nation won't keep the Sabbath, then the land is going to keep the Sabbath. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. Something's going to keep the Sabbath. If y'all too stupid to do it, guess what? I'm going to take you into captivity. I'm going to hold you in captivity for 70 years, and the land's going to sit still. Somebody's going to listen to me. Don't play with God. Just modify your behavior. It's so much easier that way. 2 Chronicles 36. This is why the Lord took us, not y'all, us out of the land. So the land can do this. 2 Chronicles 36, 19. Please start reading, brother.
And they burnt the house of God and brake down the wall of Jerusalem.
He said, violently taking away his tabernacle, did he not? Come on.
And burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof.
Come on.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Watch this, 21, come on.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbath.
Enjoyed what?
Her Sabbaths.
Oh, so in other words, the weekly Sabbath and the high Sabbaths. There's more than one Sabbath. If you just think it's a weekly Sabbath, you're in violation. Come on.
For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years.
So how is somebody, a New Testament Christian or a Roman Christian, going to convince me that the Sabbath is not important when he took the whole nation out of Jerusalem, put them in slavery so the land can keep the Sabbath? Come on. Now, we dealt with that. We're dealing with the 5th commandment. We're going to get into how you're supposed to deal with your fellow man. We didn't deal with God. Now we're going to deal with your fellow man. Exodus 20. Please modify your behavior. And I'm saying that to me also. I did not willfully transgress this week. Praise the Most High God. And I do not plan to willfully transgress this week. All I'm saying is we must continue on a daily basis to modify our behavior. Or, nobody want to say that, huh? Die. Don't nobody want to say that part. Exodus 20, verse 12. Go ahead, bro.
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So all you kids out there, all you teenagers, read that one more time, please.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
So whose days can be long?
That thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So this is a commandment for you to honor your mother and your father. If you indeed have a mother or a father that is a fool, you still must give honor to them. But if you do not, let's see what happens. Let's go to Judges. This is for the offspring. This ain't for the mother or the father. This is for the offspring. This so you will live. God don't play, man. You're going to Judges 9. We're going to read a little story about this dude named Abimelech. Abimelech was the son of Gideon. Let me preface it. Abimelech was the son of Gideon. Gideon was a mighty man. How many kids did Gideon have, man? Yeah, he had quite a few. He had a lot of children. So what happened was Abimelech decided in his mind, you know what? I want to be king. And he didn't do it the right way. He did it a foul way. And he actually violated the 5th commandment. And he paid for it dearly. Judges 9. We're going to start reading at 1. We're going to dance with the stars. That means skip around. Judges 9, verse 1. Come on.
And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem.
Jerubbaal is Gideon's other name. Just like Solomon's other name was just Jediah. That's right. Come on. Read, bro.
And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem unto his mother's brethren.
So he was the son of a concubine of Gideon. So he went to his mother's household. And he was speaking with his half-brothers at his mother's household. Go ahead.
And communed with them and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying,
Come on.
Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem, whether it's better for you either that all the sons of Jerubbaal, which are 70 persons,
70 dudes. Come on.
reign over you, or that one reign over you. Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. And his mother's brethren spake of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words.
Come on.
And their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, he is our brother.
He is our brother. Why wouldn't we want him to rule over us? Come on.
And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal-berith.
Hold up. That's a foreign god. Uh-oh. So we already getting into some problems right now. Come on. Go ahead.
Wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light persons, which followed him.
So he took the bread and he went and hired him some hitmen. And what did the hitmen do? Go ahead, bruh.
And he went unto his father's house at Oprah and slew his brethren, the sons of Jerubbaal, being 70 persons, upon one stone. Notwithstanding, yet Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself.
So what happened was he gets this bread out of the house of this false god. He runs over to his father's house and he kills his half-brothers at his father's house. All of them. That is just bogus. It says honor your mother and your father. So you're supposed to respect everything from your father's lineage. Your half-brothers, half-sisters, all of them. Y'all one family. But he murked them. Now, so what happened was this. Let me preface. Jotham came down and he prophesied against him. He said, look, if he's dealt with you guys and you guys want him to rule over you, I'm paraphrasing, then everything is good. But if not, I want a fire to come out of the house of Milo. The house of Milo. Thank you, sir. And devour you. So the house of Milo, the fire came out. We're about to see that fire come out. Skip down to verse 22. Because he became king and he ruled over them for 3 years. But the honeymoon is over. And when the honeymoon is over, when God intervenes for your sin, whoa. 22. Go ahead, bro.
When Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then God sent an evil spirit.
Wait, who sent the evil spirit?
Then God sent an evil spirit.
God don't do evil, right? God sent the evil spirit. Why? Go ahead.
Then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech.
Come on.
That the cruelty done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be laid upon Abimelech their brother, which slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, which aided him in the killing of his brethren.
So he's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He's going to deal with Abimelech, and he's going to deal with his cohorts, the people that actually he hired to kill his father's sons. Let's skip down to verse 45. Because what happened was the men of Shechem, the evil spirit said, they elected a ruler to rule over them instead of Abimelech, and Abimelech started riding on them. So he went against the city and he just basically smashed on all of these cats. We're going to just pick it up in the middle of him smashing on them. Verse 45, come on.
And Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and he took the city and slew the people that was therein, and beat down the city, and sowed it with salt.
He used a scorched earth policy that they call it. Now, let's go into Judges 9. We're going to skip down to 49. Verse 49. What I'm doing is I'm just gleaning his sin. You can read the whole chapter and you can get a play-by-play on your own if you want to. Now, what happened was he smashed on this town that has the men of Shechem up in there. So they run inside this tower to hide. Go ahead. Verse 49. We're going to see what he did to the men of Shechem. In other words, his brethren from his mother's side. So not only did he killed his brothers from his father's side, but he's killing his brothers from his mother's side. He has no allegiance to anyone, thus, violating the fifth commandment. Go ahead and read, brother. Verse 49.
And all the people likewise cut down every man his bow and followed Abimelech and put them to the hold and set the hold on fire upon them.
Stop. So what happened was they're inside this tower. They're hiding because they're thinking he can't get in there. Abimelech's like, I'm going to burn the tower down with everybody up in there. So all his people that was with him, they cut down some trees, set it around there, and had a human barbecue. Go ahead and read, bruh.
So that all the men of the tower of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women.
So 1,000 men and women died. So he killed his brothers from his mother, and he killed his brothers from his father. I don't know. Sounds like a public service announcement to me. Let's go to Proverbs real quick. Public service announcement, just so we know what we're dealing with. Proverbs 15. One verse. Proverbs 15, verse 20. Proverbs 15, verse 20. One verse. You got it, bro? Please read. Yes, sir.
A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother.
Sounds like he's a foolish man because he killed not only his father's sons, but he killed his mother's sons also. His half brothers on both sides. This dude was anybody killer. Now let's go back to Judges 9. We're going to start at verse 52. Judges 9, verse 52. All right, bruh. Now, here's what's going on. He didn't set the tower on fire. He didn't kill all the men of Shechem. But he just started enjoying murdering so much that he actually took a city that was within a near proximity. And these people did the same thing in this city, but there was a smart woman in this city. She was like, I'm not having it. Start reading at verse 52, bruh.
And Abimelech came unto the tower and fought against it, and went hard unto the door of the tower to burn it with fire.
Because he had done it before, so he figured it might work again. Go ahead.
And a certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon Abimelech's head, and all to break his skull.
Skip down to verse 55. Come on.
And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man unto his place. Thus God rendered the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did unto his father.
Wait a minute. That he did to who?
Which he did unto his father.
So you saying he broke the fifth commandment? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
In slaying his 70 brethren.
Now, this is just lesson 1. Lesson 2 is coming up. I'm going to end it on this note. Let's go to Revelation 14. One verse. This is for all the New Testament Christians out there that wants to say the law is done away with and it's bad. If the law is done away with and it's bad, then God having all these people killed back in these days is unfair. And if I was you, I wouldn't worship him. But if the law still stands, then God is fair. And the law still stands. But don't believe me. Read that. Verse 12, please.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God.
The what?
The commandments of God.
In Revelation.
The commandments
of
God.
In the New Testament. So he's talking about the commandments in Revelation, the last book in the Bible in the New Testament.
Sir.
Ooh-wee. What else is he talking about?
And the faith of Jesus.
So you have to have both. And I hope you got some understanding.